Warning. Tomb of Annihilation spoilers ahead. We rejoin Badakas the Rogue, Nala the Druid, Zayli the Ranger, Torin the Paladin, Zandala, Boblia, Keshma, Lucanu, and Zale on the 5th floor of the Tomb of the Nine Gods. After a fight with several shambling mounds and the tomb's white custodian, Withers, Zayli has an idea about how to proceed further. She, Nala, and Zandala are currently talking it over. Here's the dilemma. The party needs to get all the way through the first 2 cogs and into the 3rd cog before they proceed to the possible new area to the north. The problem is that there's no way to have someone at the console who can then join the party in the new area, especially if Withers comes behind the party and starts messing with the controls again. Despite having had Sending Stones since the beginning of the module, I told my players that the Sending Stones would not work until the end of the adventure, so they'll have to rely heavily on whatever plan they set to work. Before we continue, please make sure you've subscribed to my channel. It helps me out a lot. The decision. Torin, Lucanu, and Zale are going to stay in the console room while Torin rotates the cogs every 10 minutes between Configuration 3 and Configuration 1. Zayli, Nala, Badakas, Boblia, and Zandala will test the new room and see what excitement it brings, especially after the Shambling Mound surprise. The plan is set in motion and the scouting team dashes through the Shambling Mound room as poison starts to fill it once more. Keshma slowly drifts up onto the 4th level of the Tomb of the Nine Gods and disappears from sight. Unable to stop and speculate, Zayli, Nala, Badakas, Boblia, and Zandala find themselves in a mostly empty room save for more gray slime puddles on the floor, 5 unique wardrobes, and an adamantine portcullis set under 5 teardrop rubies. The wardrobes all bear a different picture. One has an army of hobgoblins clashing with orcs. One has a grinning night hag with a human infant. One has the face of an ornate clock. One is a hellscape. And one is of ghouls gnawing on bones. The 5 crystals above the adamantine portcullis are dull, even to creatures with dark vision. It appears that the gate leads onwards, though the hallway turns left and proceeds out of sight. The group heads back to talk with Torin, Lucanu, and Zale before returning again to the wardrobe room with the intent of learning what is represented on each of the wardrobes. It is discovered that the doors represent different realms. Acheron, Gehenna, Mechanus, the 9 Hells, and the Shadowfell are represented here. 4 out of 5 of these realms are from the outer planes, meaning the laws governing the plane, physics, the environment, etc., can be completely different from that of the material plane. The only plane that is near the material plane is the Shadowfell, a depressed, dangerous, undead-filled place. Badakas walks over to the adamantine portcullis and rubs his hand on the 2nd crystal from the left. Open, says Badakas. Nothing happens, so Badakas unsheaths his rapier and smacks a different crystal. Nothing happens again, so Badakas licks the middle crystal. Badakas is sad. These crystals don't taste like red. What does red taste like? Salty. Meaty.
For once, that's not unreasonable.
Zayli walks over to the wardrobe with the ornate clock and opens it. She can see a vast area beyond that contains a huge variety of interlocking gears and cogs that stretch as far as her eyes can see. Suddenly, a small spherical construct with spindly legs and small wings tumbles through the doorway as if it were thrown. The creature picks itself up, dazed, and tries to walk back through the wardrobe. It is aggressively rebuffed before the wardrobe doors slam shut.
Oh, he's kind of cute.
I'm relieved it isn't something much worse. Do you have any roast chicken?
No, I do not. I do not need to eat.
This creature is a monodrone from the lawful neutral outer plane of Mechanus. Mechanus is a wondrous place reflected in a realm of clockwork gears, all interlocked and turning according to their measure. The cogs are all engaged in calculations so vast that no deity can fathom their purpose. Modrons occupy this plane and are built according to their purpose. The more complicated a Modron is, the higher ranked its position in society. The funny thing about Modrons is that they can only communicate with other Modrons that are within one position of themselves. Any higher or lower the Modron is either too simple or too complicated to be understood. What a wild society.
How did you get here? I was brought through the door. How did you bring me here? I opened the door. How unhelpful. What is this place? A death trap. How wonderful. How do we leave? We're trying to figure that out.
Do you maintain chickens that Badakas can borrow?
I do not think you understand. I do not have chickens. I do not need to eat. Do you recognize anything here? I have never been here in my life. I think we need to open some more dressers.
Where do you come from?
We are born into Mechanus.
Badakas doesn't need all the chickens. Badakas just needs some to stay alive to get more chickens.
But sir, there are no chickens here. We cannot make some chickens from no chickens.
If you were born, can you make chickens?
I can make chicken constructs, but they must serve a purpose.
Badakas has never had roast robot chickens. Good sir, Butticus is down to try.
I do not think you understand. The robot chickens must be born with a purpose and are not for eating.
But eating is a purpose. What else would Butticus do other than cut off fingers and make infected arrows? Zaylee walks over to the wardrobe representing Acheron, the plane of endless war. She opens the door before dust and smoke billow out as the air sounds with the roar of battle. Beyond the doors, armies fight under a blood-red sky, and a huge iron cube floats in the distance like a distant moon. Clouds of ash suddenly fly out of the wardrobe, transforming into screaming orcs before the startled party's eyes. Oh, these are much less cute.
Butticus, fight!
Butticus will fight with Butticus's fists.
No, Butticus, use your weapons.
Butticus will fight with the hilt of his weapons.
I hope he doesn't lose his hands.
The orcs are defeated, though one orc kills the Modron the party was partially attached to. After the smoke clears, the orc bodies and armor are left in the room, though the Modron has disintegrated upon its death. 2 of the teardrop rubies above the adamantine portcullis have been illuminated, revealing the party's hunch to be true. Zaylee sighs and walks over to the wardrobe representing Gehenna, the plane of fiends and Yugoloths. She opens the door and finds herself just above the caldera of an active volcano. Shards of black rock float above the molten magma. Perched atop a shard are 2 man-sized creatures with insectoid features and 4 arms apiece. The 2 insectoids teleport into the room and start stabbing with their tridents. A battle of 5 versus 2 is hardly fair, and the Yugoloths are destroyed. Their bodies disappear in wisps of oily smoke, though their tridents are left behind. A 3rd ruby teardrop is illuminated. The last 2 doors are the 9 Hells and the Shadowfell. The 9 Hells wardrobe opens to reveal an iron road leading to a basalt citadel surrounded by the charred remains of defeated armies. This is Archduchess Zariel's mighty fortress on the 1st level of the 9 Hells, Avernus. Suddenly, a single glowing ember flies out of the wardrobe and transforms into a winged, bony fiend with a smiling, skull-like visage. This is a bone devil and a challenging opponent if it had brought backup. The Shadowfell wardrobe opens to reveal an ancient cemetery, its tombstones shrouded in fog. Eerie shapes move among the graves in the distance, though 4 bright, glowing balls suddenly appear in the room. These glowing balls are will-o-wisps, and they're real weirdos, but at least they're easy to kill. The 4th and 5th teardrop rubies are lit, and the adamantine portcullis slowly rises into the ceiling, vanishing from sight. The party proceeds onward, turning left at the end of the hallway before stopping dead in their tracks. The party is greeted with the paintings of rotting corpses that decorate the walls of this hall. The floor and stairs are littered with tarnished coins, rusted pieces of armor, broken shields, shredded leather, and other significantly deteriorated items. At the far end of the hall, a stone statue head bears an ivory ring. Nala shifts her weight and accidentally kicks an arrow, causing it to roll down the stairs. As it rolls down the stairs, the arrowhead corrodes and breaks into pieces while the shaft splinters before turning to dust.
That's terrifying.
No kidding. How are we gonna get around this mess?
I could try shooting the ring near that statue with an arrow.
It would disintegrate when it entered the room.
Oh, you're right.
Butticus will throw a moldy finger down the stairs to see what happens.
Nothing happens to the moldy finger that Butticus throws down the stairs, though the group sits for a while, debating on the best course of action to proceed. In the end, Nala conjures some spiders and sends them down the hall to retrieve or destroy the ring. As the spiders reach the statue, they successfully rip the ring from the statue, and the ring turns to dust. Now, all that's left is to test their hypothesis that the ring was the source of the destruction, as no one used detect magic or locate traps to determine the source of the danger. Zaylee takes a deep breath, readies herself, and steps onto the stairs. What will happen to Zaylee as she braves the room where decay is imminent? Were the players right in their hypothesis? You'll find out soon. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and share this video across your social media. I'll see you all next time.